So it's only the middle of May, but that is not too early to start talking about trade deadline rumors, and one of the recent ones is about Joey Gallo. Now we know he's had a pretty up and down season of sorts. Overall not too bad though. You know, his batting average is slowly starting to get back up, his power coming back, and he of course had the 23 game on base streak at the beginning of the season, so he is doing okay for the large part. We'll get into his stats in a second here, but this was an article from a few days ago from Sports Illustrated by Mike Fisher. Of course, as usual, I'll have it linked below. And this came from a John Heyman report that teams are definitely interested in Gallo, but they are not sure how available he is yet, as well as the fact that the Rangers themselves are not exactly interested in a trade for Gallo at the moment. This is what Chris Young had to say. There's always interest in Joey because he's a very good player, but I would not say that there's anything different as compared to the offseason or from what I understand going back to last year. So it seems almost every year around the trade deadline there's something about Joey Gallo because, as Chris Young said, he is a very good player. All things considered, only a couple years removed from 40 home runs in a season. And I, like many others, do not really worry about what happened in the 2020 season very much because it was just 60 games, weird circumstances, lots of just not normal things happening. Young also said that he is very happy with the way that Gallo has played so far. So he is eligible for arbitration next season and will be a full free agent in 2023. This past offseason, I believe they gave him around $6 million for the year just to keep him on the team. Going into his stats, this is as of May 19th, before the game on May 19th. Batting .215, 7 home runs, 21 driven in, a couple stolen bases, 358 on base, and a 740 OPS. Obviously, his slugging has been down a lot because he hasn't really had many extra base hits or home runs this season. He is starting to get the power stroke a little bit, but as I mentioned before, starting the season off, he had the on-base streak, and that was really the big part of his game. His on-base is still 358, even batting .215. So the walks, I think he has 26, 27 walks. See if it says it on here. Definitely should. 29 walks. He is already at 61 strikeouts, however, in 42 games. Last year, he had 79 in 57 games. Okay, yeah, so the bold indicates that he is leading the league in strikeouts at the moment. And italic indicates all players in the major leagues. So he is leading everyone by far in strikeouts, it seems like. However, they know this. They know he's a player that does that. He had 200 in 2018, but put 40 home runs up. 41 the year before, obviously was an all-star in 2019, despite the injury, but he was on a monster pace that season. And the Gold Glove last year. So he's really blossomed into, I think, the player they hoped for. He did have the little injury, but he is still proving that he can do what he's good at doing. You'll see as well that his highest on base of his career was 389, and he's at 358 this year with plenty of time to go and a much lower batting average. So I think, considering that he's batting lower at the moment, he'll finish with close to a 400, if not more, on base this season. So that's Gallo. Do I think they're going to trade him? I honestly don't know. It's tough to say at the moment because he is starting to play a little better, and it really is dependent on what Texas wants to do. They're still doing this weird in-between rebuild thing. They can't seem to fully commit to the rebuild. I mean, I'm talking like Pittsburgh Pirates, Detroit Tigers type thing. Although the Tigers did just throw a no-hitter. So maybe they found something out. But yeah, they've been doing this probably since 2018. I understand why 2017 was kind of a in-between year because they had just won back-to-back division titles. So everyone expected them to at least make the playoffs again. However, from 2018 to now, they've been in this in-between thing where they can't fully commit to the rebuild, which results in these interesting moments at the trade deadline. Last year, they traded Lance Lynn and Mike Minor. Lance Lynn was in the offseason, I believe, but Mike Minor was at the trade deadline to the Oakland A's. which resulted in them getting Jonah Heim, who has been surprising so far for Texas. Do I think they should? I think maybe if they get just the right return, it would be worth it, because in this article from Sports Illustrated, they mentioned that it was the White Sox and the Yankees, or the speculations at the moment. Each of them have fantastic farm systems. I would need at least 1 or 2 top 30 players in each of their farm systems for Gallo, and then maybe some kind of player to be named later thing, maybe take a little bit of his contract, all that kind of stuff, because he doesn't have a big deal yet. He will be hitting the free agent market and in his age 29 season, or after his age 29 season, so that's kind of the middle to the end of the prime for most players. Because, of course, you got guys like Adrian Beltre, who could have probably played 2 to 3 more years if he really wanted to. It's just the injuries kept him down, but performing very well at an all-star level till he was 39, 38 years old. But yeah, I think if they get the right deal, they should trade him, because these teams are trading for his upside. They're not trading for who he is at this very moment. And he's 27, and they've seen what he can do. 23 years old, hitting 40 home runs. He did it again in 2018. So to conclude, for the right price, I think they should trade Gallo. The Rangers farm system has plenty of outfielders. Of course, as always, they can use pitching, so definitely at least get 1 pitcher out of that deal. And, see what happens. Don't just give him away. If you're going to trade him, make sure you get your money's worth. The second big player that is definitely in speculation to be traded if Texas is not doing so well by the deadline is Ian Kennedy. He has been statistically the best closer in baseball, apart from Aroldis Chapman, I should say, but he's got 11 saves in 17 games, a whip of .9, 21 strikeouts, and already a wins above replacement of 1, which in his career he has just under 18. So pretty good season so far for Ian Kennedy at 36 years old, still dealing. So he's been doing this for quite some time. He used to be a starter in the 21 season in 2011 with Arizona, had a 2.88. And then a few more double-digit win seasons. Let's take a look down here. He leads the league in, I'm assuming this is games finished. Yeah, games finished and saves, at least for the American League. I think the closer of the Padres, Mark Melancon, has 12 saves, and Chapman is probably up there. He just absolutely dominated the Rangers last night. That 103-mile-an-hour pitch to strike out Davis to end the game was insane. Any contending team would like a lights-out closer like Ian Kennedy. He's been very efficient as well. Doesn't take 20, 30 pitches to close out a game. Can go multiple innings if you really need him to. I don't think he has yet this season. But all in all, a very solid choice if the Rangers are in position to trade him and he continues to do as well as he has been. And do I think they will? Only time will tell. If the team is where they're at now, where they're 6-7 games below 500, not exactly doing too well, then they probably will. But if they make a little run here and think they have a chance to get a wild card spot, they'll keep him. Do I think they should do it? No, but if they are in position to, then obviously Ian Kennedy's 36. This might just be one of those magical seasons, and then he'll not do as well next year. I don't know. But if they are in position to, they should definitely trade him. Doesn't particularly matter what they get or who they get, but they should be able to get some pretty good prospects or even current players in return for someone like Kennedy, who has been a lights-out closer. There are a couple other players that I think might be up for grabs if the situation presents itself and if Texas is really going to go for the full rebuild. And I would say Adolis Garcia would be one. Obviously, he is a Rookie of the Year contender. And if the Rangers don't think they should hold on to him and they want to get some good return, they could do that. Also, Kyle Gibson. He has been very solid after a less than great opening day start. That might be another guy they can ship off. Granted, the rotation would virtually be gone if he's not there, but like I said, if it was a full dedicated rebuild, that would be a guy they could move. And then if you want to get real crazy, you could ship off Willie Calhoun, but I don't think they should do that unless there was a absolutely insane offer that they just couldn't turn down. But that's getting to the really speculative end of things. I think for now, it's probably Gallo and Kennedy if the situation presents itself, and then maybe guys like Gibson, maybe even a couple of the bullpen guys like Josh Sorbs, who has been surprisingly a good asset for them. We will see when things get closer. Still about a couple months until the trade deadline. All-Star break will be a good evaluation point for the team. It's more or less halfway through the season. I would expect to see Ian Kennedy there, and maybe even Garcia as well. Also Willie, if he continues to do what he's been doing. He's been fantastic. That's about it for now, y'all. Let me know what you think of my predictions, kind of early, way too early predictions for the trade deadline, and if you want to see any of these guys stay, any of them go, all that good stuff. And until next time, I'll talk to y'all later.